Okay, so we'll just get started. Good morning, everybody. My name is Teresa, and I am the Communication, Education, and Outreach Coordinator for the New Mexico Coalition Against Domestic Violence, and I would like to welcome you all to our Advocacy Cafe Session 9. Today we are with the Executive Director, Selena Bryant of Grammy's House, and we also have Shauna Pruitt, who is the program manager, and both of them work with the Domestic Violence Offender Treatment Intervention, and they are located in Artesia. Just wanted to give you guys some information on the Advocacy Cafe. Everybody is currently muted to allow Selena and Shauna to give their presentation. If you guys do have any questions or concerns or input, go ahead and use the Zoom webinar chat. And I want to also let you guys know that at the end of the Advocacy Cafe, there is going to be a survey. If you guys can please fill that out. And after filling out the survey, you guys will get a certificate for attending the Advocacy Cafe Session 9. If you guys have any questions or concerns, please email training@nmcadv.org, and I will hand it over to Selena and Shauna. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry, and good morning to all 74 participants. Before we get started, I just want to make sure that all the attendees are in maybe in an area where it's you're secure, nobody can hear what we're going to be discussing, and also because due to the subject matter, we don't want children coming in and out or other people kind of hearing what we're talking about. Go ahead and introduce.
I'm Shauna Pruitt. I am with Grammy's House here in Artesia. I run the DVOTI program and the parenting program. So, and we're actually going to just be discussing the DVOTI program today.
So this webinar will offer alternative approaches and also provide some networking resources and answer some pressing questions. And we're going to get started with the outline that we're going to use to present to you all. The question that a lot of people are asking are what alternative approaches are being implemented to hold offenders accountable, because after all, that's what the program is about. And with Grammy's House, like anyone else, this happened so suddenly. We were kind of caught off guard, like, what are we going to do? You know, we've all been on a Zoom call, but, you know, we didn't know, okay, this is a way to do this. But what methods does everybody have? We've started asking questions like, do our clients all have access to Zoom? Do they have a place to go? And so one of the things that Shauna and I staffed was, okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to do this? And to kind of keep the momentum going with the groups, the times, you know, there's one thing we had to consider. It's not like, oh, we can do it anytime. You know, we're working from home and we're working in and out of the office. And so we did structure all the Zoom calls as if it were the real actual meeting, the real VIP meeting. I'm going to turn it over to you and let them talk about this.
So when we had to cancel our classes, I called everybody. I let them know that classes were canceled due to the COVID, the stay-at-home orders. I did tell them that if they would check in with me once a week, I'd write it down. I would see about getting them credit. I did my DAPs after speaking to them. Well, let me back up here. So when they called or texted, I logged the call or the text, the time, the date, and just signed them in. And then I did the DAP. And so after we staffed them, we decided to get the Zoom meetings up and going. I called everybody, let them know what we were planning on doing, and that, and they had a lot of questions, you know, about the times and days where, you know, was it going to be a bigger group or how everything was going to run. So what I told them was that we were keeping our original class times and days, and that was for the benefit of them, you know, because once the order is lifted, you know, their normal schedule can continue. It's not, oh, well, I forgot because you changed the time on me, or, you know, something like that. So it's been working really well. Everybody seems content that, you know, that we kept the same day and times. What I did impress upon starting Zoom was like Selena had said, keeping the privacy and the confidentiality of the group. I stressed it to each and every client that we had to have the privacy. Definitely no children, you know, and no other spouses or family members. So I did ask them if they, as Selena had said, you know, if they had an office, or if they had, if they could use their bedroom for the duration of the meeting, or go out to the park, or sit in their vehicles, you know, so that the privacy continued. And I did stress that it was privacy for the entire group, which is what I stress to only clients that come in. You know, what's said here stays here. They have to sign a confidentiality agreement. So this privacy needs to continue through Zoom. And then another way to continue the privacy through Zoom, once the meeting has started and you have everybody signed in, then you can go down and you can close the meeting so that nobody can jump in. You can also record for later viewing, you know, to verify that a person was in the meeting, and for other reasons also. But did you want to say something?
No, I was just thinking about that. Like I said, we're doing the Zoom, and also you can continue. She did do telephonic approach as far as calling them, doing the one-on-ones on the phone, and you can also set up Zoom one-on-one. And I think I'll stress it again. You definitely want to not break, if you can, not break that momentum, because they're obligated to attend that class anyway. So that's how this has to work for Zoom. And also another thing that we're working on Zoom is, I told Shauna and I discussed this, and we came to the conclusion that it's best to close that at the time you would close the doors and not let anybody else in. In other words, if they're late, they're late. Yes. And they can't get in, you know, because that also disrupts the process. And I think that's working fine as well right now.
That is working fine. I have had a couple of our clients that have tried to interlate. They'll shoot me a text, hey, I can't get in. And I tell them, I'm sorry, the meeting's already in progress. Try to get logged on early next week. My clients have from 1/4 till the hour, so 1/4 till 7 to 10 after 7 to get into class on Zoom. For the ones that are having technical difficulties receiving the invitation email, what I will do is I will screenshot the invitation information, the password, the ID and the password, and I will actually text that to them so that they can sign themselves in with the meeting ID number. That works really well. That has actually, a lot of my clients have requested that. We're in a large area that doesn't always receive emails out here. So
for some reason,
text messages, yes, text messages for the most part reach our clients fairly quickly. So that is something that the majority of my clients have requested. And so that's what I do. I just take a shot with the cell phone, text it to do a group text. However, on my group text, I have the option of doing sending individual so that everybody can't see each other's phone numbers, which is another privacy concern. So that's how I do it, because I do have that option. So it's working really well.
And I think another question that, you know, has come up with other DVOTI programs and groups pertains to the assignments, the work, and how is that being delivered and how is that being documented. In other words, when you have your group on Zoom, okay, so how are we going to, what are we going to discuss today? So,
Okay, so I let them know, you know, we get into the meeting, do our check-in. I let them know what the discussion is going to be for the day. There is an option in Zoom. I have not used it yet. I'm working on that, where you can actually put if you have it in the computer, you can show the document on the screen. I'm working on that one. But for the meantime, what I have done is I have held it up. I've showed them. I have asked for emails so that I can send them papers. All the clients have agreed. They've given me their emails. And there are a couple that are a little further out job-wise and living. So what I will do is I will actually take a picture with the phone and text that to them so that they can reference back to that and they can just write it down on a piece of paper. I have told them, as far as being able to track that they're doing the work, we are doing homework. At the end of each session, I'll give them the following week's homework. I have asked them to, you know, hold on to it, put their names on it. And then when we get back into physical class, then they turn everything in. I also asked them to put the date on it. However, I'm keeping records, a lesson plan. So I will have, you know, the date if I need to write it on there, that's not an issue. But now I will say this, I have not seen their homework. So I'm truly hoping that they are doing the homework. They do know that is a requirement to do the Zoom meetings. So,
and I think the other question, or that might be posed or might be helpful, is also we don't just have the obligation to continue communication with our clients and staff, but also, especially with the DVOTI program, would be our community, and that would be the courts, probation, parole. These are other people that Sean has also been in communication with. So those referrals continue. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes. Okay. So for a new referral, well, let me back up here. So I try to contact the courts, CYFD, probation and parole officers. I'm trying to do that once a week just to let them know, you know, hey, we're still doing Zoom meetings. You know, are you still accepting this business open for public? You know, are you doing Zoom meetings? Are you doing video conferencing? You know, things like that. So trying to keep Selena informed about that, so that. But it's good information to have, just to let your clients know. You know, if they run into an issue, hey, well, your court's closed. This is what the number you need to call to contact everybody. So
with CYFD as well, and we've been in communication with them. Definitely phone calls and Zoom meetings with our local CYFD office, and that way they know what's being done, because they will call and check in and say, okay, you know, are such and such, are these people attending? And we definitely want to keep those open lines of communication going, because like I said, we don't know how long this will be. It could be the DVOTI program's a 52-week program. We don't want it to be 152 weeks for several. I mean, because that's what would happen if we were just to stop everything and say, oh, we can't do this. Thank God for Zoom. Thank God for telephonic ways to do things. And that's another thing that CYFD knows, that we are continuing, and these are the options.
Yes. So when I spoke with the court and probation officers, they were immediately on board with this. They agreed that this was a good thing. CYFD also. CYFD, they were actually a little more quick to say, that's an awesome idea, let's get this up and going. You know, we need to keep them accountable through this time, which hopefully ensures better safety for the victims that are at home with them.
Yes, which brings us to the next bullet point here. What are the specific strategies being utilized regarding safety planning? So definitely safety planning with the VOTI programs, that's of the utmost importance. There's different ways. I'll give the floor to Shauna, talk a little bit about that, and then I'll talk about what we do on the victim service part of it. So.
Okay. So on the offender side, I do speak with them once a week. Besides the Zoom meetings, I personally contact the offenders, especially the ones that I know live with the victims. I ask them how things are going. You know, are you currently working? I'll use one of my clients as an example. He currently is not working. He is still living with the victim. She's self-employed, so she's no longer working either. He said that last week things are getting tough, they're getting stressful. And I asked him, I said, okay, so what are you doing to ensure that you don't become violent again? And he told me, he said, well, I'm going out, I'm doing what you said, I'm going out for walks, I'm calling my mother, you know, I'm calling our priest, he calls me, and this specific client has actually called quite a bit through the week, which I have told all of my clients, I am available anytime. If that keeps you from becoming violent, you know, picking up another domestic violence charge, please don't do that. Just call me. I'll talk to you. Text me. We can work through this. You know, we'll figure something out.
You've kind of taken the role, and I'm not being funny, but of a sponsor, kind of like but it's good because you're that link. I mean, that's part of what we do. You know, they need to be able to call if they even think about that's a possibility that they may reoffend.
Yes. And so I'm checking in with them once a week. Besides the Zoom meetings, I am each week that I speak with them personally, I'm reminding them of the things that they can do, you know, to help calm themselves down, ensuring that they have somewhere else to go if they need to leave the house. If it gets to the point that they're going to become physical or abusive in any manner, that they have somewhere they can go. You know, a friend, the park, you know, go stay with mom and dad for the night, you know, check it out the next day and see how things are going. I'm just constantly reminding them that they need to be aware. The victim needs to be safe. And if they're living with a new partner, you know, times are tense, and we're all having to live through the same thing. We don't all deal with it the same way. So,
right.
So
one of the things also is to reach out to the victim and to say, you know, these are services, you know, this is a support group, you know, with Grammy's house, these are services. We have a counselor and she's doing the telephonic support and Zoom. There's different things that we can reach out. And also one of the things that, I mean, the Grammy's house can offer, or through this community, especially with some of these families that are having hardships, and we're talking food, especially food, and we don't feel that anybody should go without food. If we can help, we will. And so we've had resources where we can say, hey, you know, we want to reach out. Here's a box of food, or here's a resource. This person can help you. Keep a list of ongoing resources that, and maybe reach out to these places and say, hey, you know, we're going to be making this referral. Can you help this family? Especially right now, we've done that quite a bit with some of the clients from the DVOTI, especially with food, because they've lost their jobs or having a hard time, and they're more than happy to take that. and yeah, definitely keep the family in mind.
Yes. So a couple of our clients are from Carlsbad and Roswell.
The oil.
Yes, the oil field. So, I'm trying to get a resource list together, so that I have it if they call, and I have let all of, at the end of each Zoom meeting, I do ask, is everybody doing okay? You don't have to answer that. If you need something, shoot me a text, call me. I'm trying to get a resource list together from all 3 towns. And, just so it's at your fingertips, if somebody calls and says, hey, I need this and I'm not able to find any help, can you help out? So.
I'm going to stress, excuse me, my throat is just dry. The gardeners or the landscapers are out there. And it's,
Yes.
Anyway, what I want to stress about, or stress on is follow up on that safety planning, like with Shauna, with certain individuals that she speaks with. As we all know, safety planning measures, things change. They can change on a daily, not just a weekly or monthly. So what's really important as we do with our victims is when we touch base with them, just like with offenders, is maybe kind of reiterate what was going on last time and use that as a baseline and see where they're at today, what their mindset is and what's going on, and just say, okay, and kind of just give them some praise or say, that's good, you're staying away from those tendencies.
Yes, and I'm sorry, I didn't.
That's okay.
I do let them know. They're quick to say, we had a bad day, but we worked through it. So one of the things that I have told all of my clients, and it's something that my grandparents used to do, was if there was an issue, if tempers were getting a little high, they would get a glass of tea or a cup of coffee and they'd go sit at the kitchen table. Talk it out. I stress, listen to your partner. Don't hear them, don't just listen. Give them time to talk. Hopefully they'll give that to you. For some of them, it's beginning to work. First time or two, they're like, this is weird. We don't want to do this. And I'm like, well, give it a time or two. It's
makes them uncomfortable, but
yes,
that's
it. It makes them uncomfortable. Yeah, but so for a couple of them, it's beginning to work. I mean, they've tried it long enough that them and their partners are getting a little more comfortable. So, and they're quick to say, hey, this is working. Thank you. So.
Yeah, I like that. You like to see progress and you like to see change.
Yes.
So we're going into, we're going to touch on what about check-ins, intakes, assignments, and we're going to talk about payments, because I'm not sure how many programs actually are, that accept payments, but we are one of them. We do have fees that our clients, make. So I'll go ahead and hand it over to Shauna.
Okay, so on new clients, what we're currently doing is we are, the court or probation officer or CYFD will fax us the paperwork or email it to us, and we're taking the new intakes over the phone. I'm filling out the application. I do let them know that once the stay-at-home order is lifted, they need to come in, get their paperwork signed, finish filling out any remaining information that they weren't really willing to give over the phone, which I've been lucky, so far, and I've got the majority of the information. So, and I am putting just at the top in the right-hand corner, I'm just putting information taken via phone due to COVID-19. It just as a reminder for myself, because I know it's my handwriting. So, when I'm explaining to him about the Zoom, I'm stressing the confidentiality of the Zoom meetings. I'm stressing that with everybody to ensure that confidentiality is upheld. On
the intakes, again, this is something when you're with an intake on the phone, do you give them kind of like a window, or say this will take this much time to do, and that way they can set aside that time, because it's going to be telephonically, or it could be done Zoom, but is that something that you kind of?
Yes, thank you.
It's okay.
Intakes do take a little bit of time.
Yeah.
So yes, on the initial call, I do let them know that this does take a little bit of time. I usually ask them to set aside an hour and a half, but I do let them know, depending on the information that I'm able to get on the application. It may take a little less, or it may take a little longer. It'll, depend. Normally they're taking less time, so it's just easier when they're able to actually, voice the information instead of taking the time to write it themselves. So,
Right.
And I can write shorthand for most things, so that's
Good skill.
that's part of it.
I can't even write regular hand. So what about lethality? When you're assessing lethality and that person's on the other end of the phone, because usually when you're doing a lethality assessment, they're in front of you, that body language, behaviors, all of these things come into play, and they're important things important elements to you take notes when you have a person right in front of you, something that you may not be able to see on the other end. How does that work?
So, yes, it's possible. You just have to listen a little better. You have to listen for that little tone rise in their voice, or a pause maybe. If when somebody's answering a question, it's normally, if it's the truth, it's a direct answer. It's not unless they're trying to throw something into that answer to make themselves not look as bad as what they feel they're going to look over the phone or in person even. So it's mainly just listening, and it's not easy. Because they can really tell you literally anything. And speaking to two people now, the very first day I spoke with them, of course, I've never had contact with them before, so I don't know their tone.
Right.
So I'm having to take them at face value. One of them I've spoke to a few more times, and kind of beginning to figure her out. So it's just listen.
And I would encourage also, like when all this is over, when you actually go back to the real classroom, is revisit that part and just kind of another one, do the one-on-one, or even do could even do a, if you're not sure, kind of like uneasy. Some people are good, some people it's not so easy to do. Is maybe do a Zoom, see if they can Zoom in with you, and you can maybe do that part on a Zoom call. That process there.
So the female that I'm working with, I'm actually waiting for her to shoot me a text saying that she has the Zoom app loaded on whichever device she's going to be using. I'm hoping today or tomorrow I'll get that, just because I just want to see her.
Right.
Like you said, I want to see the body movements, everything.
It's important,
So,
especially
yes.
so let me see. I'm gonna get the time. Okay, right at 11:30. Okay. We talked about assignments, and I think, are you doing? I know we talked about assignments on Zoom, and we're off a couple of models, Duluth and sometimes Heal and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So, what are some of the things that, as far as right now, are you kind of maybe adjusting lesson plans to current situations and kind of implementing that as we move forward?
I'm trying to. So I have found some information online about domestic violence during.
And we'll share that also. We'll definitely share that resource afterward.
Yes.
We can share it with Terry, and she can blast it out to everybody.
Yeah. So, during natural disasters, so the information that that I found was actually based on Hurricane Katrina, domestic violence. So it's I have not emailed that to the clients. What I have done is I have actually taken the time to read that during the Zoom meeting, and ask them what their thoughts are on it. You know, if there's something that they felt familiar with, what would they do to change that before it got to that point? And I'm having them write a lot of things down. I make sure that, I'm like, do you have pencils? Do you have papers? You know, pencil,
I
pen,
think
papers.
most of us still do. If not, we will provide
So,
you with that.
yes,
You can pick them up. I think keeping in mind, like all of us, nobody's exempt from this, and we're all in the same boat. And thank goodness that we have other methods to continue some of these services, as well as we all have to be creative. And I think this is a thing that if you're not creative, I think it's a killer for some people. It's really hard, but I mean, we're open if anybody wants to contact us and ask us about things, and how do you do this? How do you do that? I mean, and we're also open for suggestions as well on how other people are doing things. Because I always find some neat ideas when you talk to other people, like, hey, why didn't I think of that?
And a real quick thing, teenagers and young adults, you don't have to give them any information. Just ask them what types of things are out there for meetings, web meetings. They give you all kinds of ideas.
And free stuff too.
Yes.
Always remember free. Remember that.
Yes.
I think we talked about your client contacts. I'm going down our Zoom cloud. The sign-in, talking about the client sign-in sheet, how we're doing that on Zoom, or how that works. Do you go off accountability off the Zoom?
Okay, so actually I'm using both. So I print out my sign-in sheets. Of course, the clients aren't there to physically sign them, so I'm signing them in as they log into Zoom. Now, if they call, one of my clients is unable to do Zoom right now, so he'll call the cell phone. I put it on speakerphone, set him up by the speaker so that the other clients can hear him on Zoom. He can hear all of us. So I'm actually signing him in on that meeting. And then the ones that either are choosing not to be on the Zoom meetings or don't have access to it for some reason, they'll call or they'll text, and we have lengthy conversations over the text messaging. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and sign them in for their normal day, down lower from the Zoom class participants, and I'll put their name in, and then I'll put via text or via phone, something like that, just showing that they have made the attempt. So if they text or they call and they're not actually in that Zoom meeting, what I'm doing is I'm first of all, I'm figuring out how they're doing, making sure everything's good, if they need anything, and if they're still working, or if they have a possible job in sight. And then I go over the lesson for that week. I'll go over that lesson. I'll let them know what the homework is. I will shoot them a text with, a picture of the worksheet. And then I'm logging that. I do lesson plans, a weekly lesson plan. So I'm also, if they're not on the Zoom meeting, I'm signing them, if, text or phone. It's double work, but it's double verification for myself.
Right.
So that I don't miss it, because, I don't have their sheet to sign proving that they attended.
Right.
So I'm doubling up on my work so that I don't have an issue when they come back and they're like, no, I was there. I don't want any problems like that. And it's not fair to them if they did attend,
Yeah.
and I'm not giving them that credit.
So I'm gonna touch on that. As far as like, I mean, the surveys, you know, the surveys that we give out to the clients,
Yes.
and we used to give them like every week or every couple of weeks. Those can be emailed out to them. And also you can provide it, you know, as a handout on Zoom and give it to them, and then they can just submit that back. That way that doesn't, I know sometimes some people, I mean, sometimes they're not doing them or they're doing them, but that's something that is just can give you some feedback as well. So, and then do you want to talk a little bit about feedback from homework and stuff like that? I know we talked about that you're still collecting that since this is all new, but maybe some approaches that would be helpful. That way we know that they're not just on the call talking, but they're actually producing something back.
Yes. So my plan this week is I'm actually going to, during our Zoom meeting, I'm going to ask them to take a picture of their homework from last week, and I'm going to ask them to text it to me. I'm not going to do it in a group like we would if we were in person, just because that's taking up more time on the meeting. And it isn't that I don't necessarily believe that they're not doing their work. You know, they're the ones that are working. They're working. So I want to be like, I want to look at it. I want to, read through it. I want to see what their thoughts are on the homework subject and see if there's something that I need to address in the following week. If I see an issue, I want to address it. I'll set the lesson plan and the homework aside for a minute and take care of whatever needs to be addressed.
Thank you. Okay, and I think one of the last things that we want to talk about are payments. So how that used to be, it would be done in person. They would come to the main office and make a payment with either myself or our billing person. So that's all changed because our main admin office is not open to the public right now. But we did find alternative ways to keep that money flowing. Yeah.
Yes, so I have let all the clients know that that the admin office is currently closed to the public. So what they need to do, if they're able to make a payment, is get a money order, mail it in. I have provided them all with the mailing address, and I have reiterated that it needs to be a money order, so that please do not send cash through the mail. And most people know that. On occasion, there's one or two that do not. Yeah. And I try to, let everybody know that you do not send money through the mail, because there's no guarantee it's going to make it to its destination. They have asked about how do they ensure that they get a receipt. So I have told them keep their money order receipt in an envelope. Yes, and then we will send them a copy of the receipt once it's received here. So everybody seems to be good with that. I know we've had some payments come in. We're expecting some more payments. So, of course, the majority of my clients have lost their jobs.
Yeah, we'll work with them on that.
Yes.
I mean, that's definitely not something we're going to mandate, but but the ones that can do and provide an alternative way for them to get it done. So
afterwards, they're welcome to start making payments after everything's better.
Okay, we talked about everything here. I think we've covered everything that we wanted to on this cafe. So Teresa, she's muted. Let me see. Okay, here's some chat, so we'll go through. Okay. Okay, we did see we have provided support to many of attendees. Okay,
So
good,
do
okay.
that.
Oh, yes, we see one from Diana Cruz. How are y'all accepting payments? Let me know if that helps. It's basically, like she said, it's going through the mail. And so far that's been pretty much the only way, because we don't want to meet with them in person. And we will make sure those receipts are kept and that tracking is done. Because one of the things, let's just say, one of Shauna's clients tells her, I'm going to make a payment. And they do, and it comes through us, and we send that client a receipt, but Shauna has no way of knowing. So communicate, have the main, whoever's accepting those payments, make sure that they communicate that to the facilitator, because that checks off that accountability list too, those requirements. It's that tracking. No, we're not suspending payments, but if people can't afford to pay, definitely that's fine. You know, they can just, if they go back to work, and if not, then, you can always work something out. Sometimes we've offered in the past, right now we can't do that, but we would have them come in and do community service, clean, mow the yard, help with the donation bin, just stuff like that. But right now, I think the main thing is getting the workout and the groups to continue the momentum on that. Can you use Square for payments? I'm not sure what Square is. Is that a method of
Yeah, it's a little thing that attaches to your phone. I believe you can. You don't have to have physical contact. I believe you can input the information.
Okay. Yes, definitely. Jumped off ahead of the press. Sorry, that's a good idea. Okay. Let me see. There's a lot. Thank you. You're welcome. Spending payments. Yeah, community service is an excellent way. And it also, it lets them, kind of lets them know what the other half of the agency does. Like, hey, we do donation sorting, we clean toilets, we clean our buildings, we pick up our trash. These are things. Sometimes we have furniture donated to a client or something like that. I mean, there's tons of stuff. You can be creative with that and figure out different ways. We've had them wash our vans before, so they do a really good job. So
Yeah.
Definitely. Yes, they just give you, thank you for that resource on Square, the credit. Are they coming in? We go up to the top from the very top. Let's go into the bottom, getting the last one. Okay. Good morning, Lisa. Advocate. What if the participants do not have access to a smartphone or tablet? Good question.
Okay, so that is where I'm accepting phone calls and text messaging. The phone calls, if they have access to a phone, and that's where I'm having them call in, and I'll put them on speakerphone. So I've had 2 call in at the same time. Okay, so now to do this, to take care of that issue, I have used the company phone for one client. There is an app that's called Text Now. I have put on my personal phone, which assigns an anonymous number.
Excellent.
I have given them that number and had them call. That way they don't have my personal number, but they have access to the Zoom meeting via phone. So there are options out there. Just like Selena said earlier, get creative. And if you're not creative, speak with your fellow employees, ask for some options, for some ideas. Get with teenagers, young adults, call it, anybody that you feel is creative or may have technical knowledge that you don't, get with them.
Mm-hmm.
See how they can help you out.
Absolutely. Get it. That's a creative thing. Somebody asked, is this Zoom meeting specific to your employees? I don't know about this one, but when the way Shauna, again, she talked about this a little bit at the beginning on Zoom, it is specific to that to that group, and they have to be admitted in, and she has to allow them in, and then you can close, kind of like a meeting, you can close the door, lock the doors, and then at this point in time, nobody else, it's treated just like they were attending the real VIP session. So, and you can do that, set that up that way. That's pretty basic on Zoom. How have they been responding to the change?
I think they actually are enjoying it, as far as, yeah, they don't have to get out, they don't have to get out in the heat, they don't have to get out in the snow or the rain, you know,
to come to the meeting.
yes. I think it allows them to be in their own little zone, you know, their little safe zone, which works for now. However, once this order is lifted, we're gonna have, I was gonna say a reintegration process,
Right.
you know, for the ones that are, yeah.
Okay, here's a really important one. Is there not a confidentiality concern with recording groups? Are you using an app to send text messages? If so, I think you talked about that a little bit in the app. And they, on the confidentiality concern is like they do know it's being recorded, but also you have that where only the members, it's not, nobody else can get in.
Yes.
It's a secured code.
Yes. So yes, that is how we're ensuring the confidentiality. At your specified time, you lock that meeting. They do know it's being recorded. It is being recorded to only one computer that is not connected to the server or anything like that. However, it is on Wi-Fi. I have a password. It's a secure Wi-Fi. So everything should be secure.
Yeah.
I'm following all the guidelines, so hopefully that's the way it goes.
100%.
Yes.
Seems like it. How do you handle cases? This is another one where someone might not have phone or access. We answered that, and I hope that helps because there's, like she said, text, phone, definitely.
Yes. So just to expand a little bit on that, if they can use their neighbor's phone or, and this is where I'm allowing, the check-ins and some of them are a little quicker than I like, but I get that they don't right now have access to certain things. So as long as they're calling in,
I am alive.
Yeah, I'm alive, I'm good.
It works.
And I'm like, hey, do this for homework and turn it into me when we get back into class. That's how I'm dealing with that part right now.
Right, because that's not much you can do. The other thing is this whole COVID-19 is not, can't penalize people for it, but it's also like if we didn't have this as 52 weeks, you don't know how many weeks that would turn into. And this would be long, and then you're getting new people, that influx, that would be.
Yes.
Some of our clients don't have internet access. Somebody's leaving our agency. We have provided support to many group attendees, have given the option of attending Zoom meeting until as well. Good deal.
Hey, Selena, so we have one question.
Yes, we're going through the questions right now because we finished maybe like 5 minutes ago.
We do have one where it says, are there any HIPAA conflicts with pictures of assignments? Apparently, Anna Maria was told that it was a HIPAA violation. Is that a HIPAA violation?
Oh, let's see. I don't know. With assignments?
I don't know. That's actually something we need to check into.
Wait, okay, when you say assignments, like, okay, when I put out, say I'm putting a Zoom share document, that's the work. Are you talking about the feedback they're giving us on their assignments turned in, completed, or the assignments given?
It looks like it was, yes, the feedback.
Yeah, so that's a good question because we haven't had any yet. Like she says, she's touching, but that may be something we can check into. Okay, well, we'll check into that definitely because there's got to be a way for it to be done. It's like if it were being done, being brought in, but we can check into that. That's a good question. So. Secret, okay, what was the app called that you? What was the app called that you suggested for those without smartphone?
Text now.
Text now. Do you want me to type it in? I'm typing the text now. Yeah, text now together. It's one word, no space. That's the app. That's the question to, somebody asked about the app. Okay. And I'll talk with Anna Marie Marshall. And what agency is Anna Marie Marshall from? Well, somebody said, I don't think DV's subject to HIPAA requirements are even more strict. Well, we need to, we'll check that out. Sandoval County, thank you. I think we went through pretty much, some of the questions were kind of the same as far as on, you know, alternative methods if they don't have internet or they don't have computer.
Yeah, so I mean, if they don't have access, you know, do what you can. Hopefully they can have access, you know, at least to a phone. Even if it's a landline, you know, just call and check in. You know, if they have that option. If they don't, I don't know, it's not something we're currently doing here, but, you know, maybe you could have them come to the office, not enter the office, but maybe, you know, just actually put your eyes on them, stand 6 to 7 feet away, you know, and just check it in with them that way. Or, of course, that's going to be a decision that's left up to you. Yeah,
agency.
that's, yeah.
But it's another approach. You make sure HIPAA only pertains to health information. Thank you for that feedback. And like I said, to me, I can't stress the privacy of where, you know, your even phone calls, not just Zoom, but even phone calls. They're checking in and doing one-on-ones from home. You know, that's some of this, the subject matter is, that's the last thing you want your child to hear, or your spouse, or, you know, just things. It's the client's time with the facilitator. And it's, like I said, treat it just as if we're the regular session. It's just an alternative way to do it. But you still have to do those respectful of the time, respectful of who's in there, respectful of what you say, and also accountability, follow through. Those are things we stress with our clients. And also don't forget the victim. You know, we reach out to them because this is a little different. And resources, definitely keep a handy book of working resources. Make sure those resources are updated and they're still doing what they were doing a year ago or whatever it is, because sometimes we find out that some of them are obsolete, they're defunct, they're not helping anymore, or they've ran out of resources, because that's another thing we're finding in the community as well. So
that's true. One of my people is an artist. He likes to make jokes on the Zoom meetings about homework. You know, last week we were discussing the nonviolent will. So gave him homework, and he's like, "So do I draw the wheel?" And I'm like, "If you need to draw the wheel, but make sure you put all the spokes and all the information in there." So, I mean, you know, that's something that, you know, I'm like, "Hey, so you're not only an artist, you're a comedian." It's like, I was like, "Yeah, when I can't be, we got to keep everybody laughing," you know. I'm like, "Well, okay, that's good." You know, so just however, you know, he goes to drawing when he needs to get his anger out.
Right.
That's what he started doing. You know, he'll go draw. I mean, whatever you know about that person, help them find a way to put it, to use it to take care of that anger, or, you know, the stress, or whatever's building. That's what I've been doing, so it's working, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I think, let me double check. There's a Q&A. Okay, I think that's good. I think we've covered everything. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for the resources and the tips.
All right, everybody. So I think we're closing up. Thank you so much to Selena and to Shauna. If you guys have any questions or concerns, I have placed the email that you can send that to. It'll be training@nmcadb.org. Again, just a reminder, if you guys can please fill out the survey, and once the survey is done, we will send out your certificates for attending today's session. And we also want to extend, if you guys have any ideas on what our next advocacy session can be, or if you guys would like to be a part of this in the future, also send to training@nmcadb.org. And Shauna and Selena, if you guys want to put your emails in, if you guys want, if extend it out, if people have any questions or anything like that. Again, both of these are from Shauna and Selena are both from Artesia. And if you guys have any questions or concerns, let us know. Thank you guys so much for taking part.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. So people saying thank you.